do it this way?
You can.
I can do it this way. One of the first things I want to do is get out the way right at the beginning is, although I'm up here, I want you intermittently up here, but I want you mainly in here. As scientists, we often get caught in the empirical stuff, the data, the numbers, etc. And you guys know me in particular, if you follow me on social media, I live in the data and the memes, but that's besides the point. I live in the data. But what I'm asking you to do is, again, this is about integrity and wholeness. So as you're feeling things and they're coming up, allow them to come up and don't so much wonder if it's right or wrong. Just be aware that if it's here, does it feel good? Is it true? But either way, it's present. Okay? So I'm going to take you on a quick spin through the hero's journey, and then we're going to go deeper into each of the parts. Okay? The hero's journey is the process of awakening. It's a process of transformation. Some people think of it, us science geeks think of it, as moving from an internal locus of control to an external locus of control. But from an external locus of control to an internal locus of control. An external locus of control is where you feel as if the world controls you. You wake up, you have a bad mood, it's cloudy outside, someone says something to you, it affects your mood. You were going to do something in the evening, but enough things piled on that you decided to the contrary. That's an external locus of control. An internal locus of control is state-independent action. You get up, you feel it, you do it. You know because you intended it that the universe is going to take care of the rest and manifest it.
That's right.
That's one way of thinking of the hero's journey. Another one is to think about it as a way of going from a state of not being aware of your needs, again, because so much noise is outside that you're preoccupied with the noise as opposed to preoccupied with the core signal, which is what really matters deeper inside. So it's going from not being aware of your needs to being aware of your needs, expressing your needs, getting your needs met. To take that even deeper, it's an explanation, it's an opportunity to connect. It's going from an ego-bound state of feeling as if you're separate from the world to a state at which you realize you're embedded in and part of the world, and as such, one and whole. Okay? Let's run the clock. So there's 12 of these. You're going to see these in different ways when you go Googling, but I would like you to make sure that you find the one that fits you. This fits me. Ordinary world, 1 o'clock. 2 o'clock, call to adventure. 3 o'clock, refusal of the call. 4 o'clock, meeting the mentor. 5 o'clock, crossing the threshold. 6 o'clock, tests, allies, and enemies.
Keep in mind, this is the journey the hero is going through. This is the journey that we all go through.
Just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait.
Just wait.
7, approach. Sometimes referred to as approaching the innermost cave. 8, ordeal, death, and rebirth.
It's ego death.
That's ego death. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to be aware every time that there's a different feeling that goes with that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, tune into that. Courage. Reward, seizing the sword. The road back. Resurrection. Remember we said ego death. Resurrection.
That's right.
Return with the elixir. Okay? Hero's not a hero if you don't come back and tell a story. Because they're going to tell you a story if you don't come back. All right, The Ordinary World. What movie is this? What do you think of when you think of The Wizard of Oz? The Wicked Witch. What else? What else? What else?
Tornado.
Tornado. What else? What else?
Tin Man.
How many of you guys noticed in the beginning of The Wizard of Oz that it was black and white? Okay? At which point does it change color? When she leaves the ordinary world. Okay, we're going to see color today. Okay? The ordinary world is the point at which the hero is not even yet a hero or even aware of their superpowers. Okay? They're walking around with a sense of ennui, of boredom. Things are weighing down on you. People have opinions. You pop off with an idea, you get shut down. Sometimes people treat you like you're crazy, too creative. That's not how we do things around here, you know. Black Panther. Okay, so that's the ordinary world. Now, Harry Potter. There's a call to adventure. Enter magic. Get your wand on. Okay? So, there's an emergence of curiosity. You get to the point where, you know, you're like, what's over here? Has anyone else noticed? Has that been there all along? Has that always been there, y'all? We've been here like 10, 12 years walking in the same way. Has that always been there? That's that call to adventure. Sometimes the call to adventure could be something sharper. You can be shoved into the adventure, you know? And it could be a death leads you to have to step up, you know? It could be you fall in love. That's scary, because now you have to step outside of yourself. These are all adventures.
Or you have a child.
Or you have a child. And suddenly the whole physics of the house is different. You know, my daughter's favorite game is hop on pop. I like sleep without someone stepping into my life. I'm like, I breathe there. I absolutely used to breathe in this place, this area. Okay? Dear Mr. Potter, we are pleased to inform you that you have a place at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Enter the magic. Please find enclosed a list of all necessary books and equipment. Term 1 begins September 1. We await your owl by no later than July 31st. We're waiting your owl. Okay? The call to adventure. You get that call. It's scary. First time people are like, you've been bored, you've been saying you want adventure, and they're like, hey, come over here. You're like, hey, man, what? What I had meant was, you know, when they gave Spider-Man his powers initially, my man was like, I'm gonna go get this money, fight in the cage. Who's seen Spider-Man? I wanna make sure how much I have to let you know. They give my man the powers. With great power comes great what?
Responsibility.
Yeah. My man was like, or I can whoop some tail and get some money up in this cage, you know? But the universe doesn't give up that easily. A nudge, a light push, a shove. You're gonna go on this adventure. And if you don't go on the adventure, you get burnout. Because you know there was something there that you didn't go after because you were afraid, because you didn't believe in yourself, because you were in the maze, you didn't take that step. And eventually, you know, some people do go through life and they don't go on the adventure. We'll talk about them later. But refusal to call, the universe will push harder. In Spider-Man, what happened?
Uncle died.
Uncle died. And he was like, the very person, wasn't that who told him, with great power comes great responsibility? He was like, oh, so I gotta get a better costume first of all, right? Fashion first. He had to get a better costume. He had to go on the adventure. Meeting with the mentor. Red or blue pill, y'all. Let's get it. So, I happen to have two of my most important mentors here. And just to frame it, the adventure is scary. Okay? We resist. And we sometimes don't believe we can do it. Sometimes we feel crazy. We don't believe there's anything beyond the threshold. And as such, we stay here where it's safe.
That's right.
But then someone shows up. And they're like, hey, you gotta go. I'm here with two of my mentors. You know, and real quick, you know, I'm studying hypnosis, neuroscience, virtual reality, video games, and all that. And Dr. Maya, she's like, hey, what you gonna do with that hypnosis? You know, and I was like, well, you know, I'm working on, you know, I got this contract, I'm gonna do this new app company I'm working on, a little startup, gonna get this chitter, I'm on my Spider-Man. You know, she's like, oh no, you're gonna help these other doctors, what you gonna do? I'm like, or I can help these other doctors, what I'm gonna do. My other mentor, Dr. Eric Tate in the back, Eric, wave again.
Yep.
Dr. Eric Tate gave me this book, Mastering the Art of Selling. Tom Hopkins, who's his mentor. He's like, read this book. And Dr. Ray, I handed you that book. And what I tell you, what I say, read this book, what? 7 times.
7 times.
That's where I got that from. He said, read this book. I'm like, oh, I read books all the time. But the way my ADD is set up, I thought, he do this in no time. He's like, 7 times. I said, huh? He said 7 times. So your mentor invites you, red or blue pill, right? So now, another thing about the mentor, mentors come in different forms. Those who mentor under me and those who follow me on the internet, one form of mentor could come in as a trickster. A mentor isn't necessarily gonna be like, hey, come on, I'm wise and I have all this info or whatever. You know, I mess with people. I hit you with twisted memes and people be like, that's offensive, unfollow. I'll be like, good, not your journey. You know, your mentor comes in different forms. In Hunger Games, sometimes the mentor comes as someone who's been through the journey and they're worse for the wear. You know, they might be drunk, they might be nonsensical, you know, Mr. Miyagi, you know, have you doing stuff that doesn't make sense. But be aware that when you're ready for the journey, you will recognize your mentor. When the student is ready, what? Exactly. Crossing the first threshold, hashtag avatar. My man is running, y'all. Okay? When you cross the threshold, you commit. You decide that you believe what you believe, and as such, you're going to do what you're going to do. Okay? Y'all ever had that feeling? Mm-hmm. All the noise around you, everyone around you is like, nah, this, that, and the other. You're like, I'm crossing. I'm good.
Right.
You know, you're outside, you wandered outside the Ponderosa. Now they're extra talking, but you can't even hear them. Because you land. It might be a hard landing, but you're there, and you know that what you believe is true. You see it, you feel it, you know. Scary. None of the rules that you've gotten so accustomed to, nothing that you mastered is relevant anymore. My man is running, y'all. My man is like gigantic and blue, y'all. There are glow-in-the-dark creatures that like eat you on the spot in this spot, y'all. You know, none of the magic that you had before applies, yet you know there's something bigger, something more powerful, and you know it's within you, and you know inside that you knew all along. Okay? You're committed. There will be tests. Okay? The test will be repeated until the student learns the lesson. Okay? There will be allies and there will be enemies. And ironically, you won't always be able to tell them apart. That's part of the journey. Okay? Follow the yellow brick road. Approach the innermost cave. Tests. What happened like in med school when you knocked out the first test and you were like, I got this? The test's gonna get harder. Okay? I think it was Jung that said, Carl Jung that said, you must enter the forest where it's darkest. And that's for you. You know? Courage and bravado are different. Bravado are, that dude entered over there. He was shaking at the knees, or she was shaking at the knees. And you over there, that looks easy. The way that that went, I could super impress everybody if I go in through here. That's not your entry. You're wasting your time. You must enter where it's darkest for you. Okay? So take some time. Deep breath in. Find where it's darkest for you. You must approach the innermost cave. That's where the transformation is going to happen. That deeper, deeper fear. Okay? Don't do the bravado. Don't do spiritual bypassing where you memorize all the verses and you're saying them to people, you know, pop quizzing people about this, that, and the other. That's not how that works. The innermost cave is so deep, no one can see it. Okay? So this is not pretend. This is not surface level transformation.
And by the way, the cave gets deeper and deeper and deeper as you go into it. Because there are layers. There are layers to the cave. So no matter how deep you go into the cave, there's always deeper.
It's going to get deeper. The ordeal. My man told me go in the cave, this ain't going to be pretty. The test will be repeated until the student learns the lesson. Okay? Now what's important to notice here is that Mufasa is the same size as Scar, right? Yet my man been playing with his head since he was a kid. So my man looks gigantic to him. Okay? When you approach the innermost cave, this is the thing that you've been taught to fear from the very beginning. This is the fear that you were told was real, over and over. So now you're up against this fear. I want to stop. There's a difference between fear and danger. Who knows the difference between fear and danger? Okay. Danger is what's on the outside. That's what's really there. Okay? And then there's fear. Fear is the thing that you create in response to danger. It's the stories you've been told. It's what we heard. It's what you've heard. It's what you've seen other people go through that you've amplified.
Real or imagined.
Real or imagined. Close the gap. Okay? Eliminate the fear by getting closer to the danger. You don't need the fear. You need the danger.
Just enough.
It's exhilarating. Be aware of the danger don't feel the fear. That's the courage. So ultimately, at some point, become aware that despite the fear that has been there from the very beginning, you're bigger. You're not the size that you were. You're not the person that you were when they instilled the fear. Go deeper. Reward, season the sword. He got the fire, y'all. Pyro. Okay? This is the Promethean fire. He stole fire from Zeus, y'all. A lot of times we get the reward and we're like, oh, it's over. You just stole fire from Zeus, y'all. It's not over. Now, a lot of people stop here. And this is the concept of the Elysian Fields. In the update of the Prometheus movie, this is the part where they eat the poppies. Y'all seen that? This is a new generation movie, so y'all might not see it. And they're like, these are delicious. It's fantastic. How long have we been here?
Fields, y'all. Poppy fields.
They call poppies for a reason. There's lots of them. Okay? You're not a hero if you don't go back. Okay? You left. You went beyond the place where they told you there was nothing there. And as such, you seized the fire. You got to get back. Did I mention you stole fire from Zeus? There's going to be more fire, y'all. The road back. Okay? The road back, now you know that what you believed was true. You're not the same person anymore. But you got to go back. Because we as humans, as a species, have moved forward as a result, not of people going off, finding some good stuff, and being like, bump y'all, but as each individual going in the forest where it's darkest, and then having the courage to return and tell each other, now don't go in where I went in, that's not for you. You know, mentoring each other.
And most of you are called to return. Most of you are called to give back. That's right here.
Because remember, how did you get across the threshold? How'd you get across the threshold? Remember the mentor showed up? Because y'all was sitting there earlier like this, and then your mentor showed up. Some of them were bruised up, and you would wonder, what happened to you? I stole fire from Zeus, y'all. He brought more. Okay? The road back. Resurrection.
Remember the ego death.
Ego death. Okay. The ego is the stories you tell yourself. This is ego narration. All day you walk around with these stories, keeping yourself small. It's different when the ego dies. When you go back, you're talking to people who still have that story in their head.
What you knew.
Yeah. You sound different. You look different. You smell different. You've been around no strangers.
That's right.
Talking about things that, nah. And fear shuts you down sometimes. And you're awake now. You're a master of both domains.
Mm-hmm. But not everybody understands that.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all getting this?
Return with the elixir. You brought that medicine back.
Contribution.
Yeah. You're not a hero if you don't return with the story.
That's right. So, how many of you can identify where you are in the hero's journey? Yeah. Starting to be able to see where you are in the hero's journey.